Hello, beautiful people, and welcome to my channel. I'm so glad to have you here on the live. I see John Jew in the chat. Hello, John. And Nan. Nan, it's good to see you. Hi, Donna and Elizabeth. Hello, everybody. Hi, John. It's really great to have you guys all here to help me or help you talk about calorie density. So what I wanted to say is that calorie density was really hard for me to understand for a while. I just didn't get it. And so I was thinking that, hi Karen, I was thinking that if I had a hard time understanding it, that maybe other people either aren't understanding what calorie density is, or you totally get it, but you maybe need to, refresh it, or you want to talk about it. And then I'm sure there are people that have never heard of it. And so I thought, okay, let's talk about calorie density because I think it's a really important topic. And so the very first time I ever heard of calorie density was through Chef AJ. And I had learned that Chef AJ had heard about it through a lady named Barbara Rolls. She has a PhD in natural science and did a lot of studying at Penn State University, I think it is. Anyhow, so that's how I was first introduced to it. And I have Chef AJ's book right here, The Secrets to Ultimate Weight Loss. And on the back of that cover is her version of a calorie density chart. I also have it, I'm going to show it here, have it blown up. If you could see that, it might not be, I don't know if you could see it very well. It's kind of, no. Okay, well, at any rate, I'm going to share it with you. I have this printed out, and it's in a plastic sleeve, and it hangs in my pantry as a reminder. And so, first of all, I just want to take a quick peek in here, and I see, hey, Janet's here, plant-powered peddler. I'm so glad you're able to join us as well, and we're just getting started. So why do we even care? What's the big deal about calorie density? Well, it's a big deal, especially if you're trying to lose weight, if you're trying to maintain your weight loss. And I even believe that it has value for people trying to gain weight. Yes, I do. Hi, Carlene. And, oh good, she says she's listening while she's working out. Way to go, pump some iron. And so anyways, we're talking about why does it matter? And before we talk about why it matters, what is it? What is calorie density anyways? Does anybody have anything they want to write in the chat about what it is? So while you're doing that, I'll tell you that calorie density, and if I take one of these pieces of food, is the amount of calories in a certain food. And all food has some type of calorie, all whole foods, right? Even processed foods have calories. And so on Chef AJ's chart, she kind of gives, a category here of non-starchy vegetables, and she kind of, puts 100 calories per pound. And we're going to be talking about it that way, calories per pound. Now, that doesn't mean everything in this bowl here has to do with equals 100 calories per pound because it's impossible. They're all individual foods. But non-starchy vegetables, she says, is 100. I kind of go with another range, which is anywhere from 10 to 150 pounds, 50 calories per pound. And if you think about an average person, depending on, if they're male or female, if they're active, how tall they are, how much they weigh, will kind of tell you how many calories they should eat in a day, right? So if you're, 250 pounds or 300 pounds, bodybuilding kind of guy at 6'5", and you're a football player, you're probably going to eat a lot more calories in a day than, say, someone my size. And so for sake of conversation, I'm going to say that we're going to be talking about 1,500 calories in a day for this made-up person that we're going to talk about. So I just want to take a minute here. And Donna says, yay for calorie density, life-changing for her. Yes. Hi, Lori G. Good to see you here. And so some of the other foods that I want to talk about when I talk about calorie density, so this was the first category we were talking about, which is the vegetables. And like I said, you know, it ranges, right? 10 to 150 calories per pound. Then we have a fruit category, and I'm going to give it 150 to 315 calories per pound. And then we have like potatoes and beans and legumes, which I have over here kind of lumped together. Some people might have them in separate categories. There are all kinds of charts and other things out there that I didn't mention. You know, I know McDougall has one, Dr. McDougall, and Jeff Novick has a great video on calorie density, and there's many charts, but I'm just kind of giving you what I think. So I'm kind of lumping these together and calling these 350 to 650 calories per pound. And so I just also want to say hi, Serenity Bloom. So good. Oh, I'm glad she's working and listening. So good to have you here. And then, okay, so then we're going to go and talk about some other ones. Where are my, oh, here they are hiding, my green avocados. Well, avocados are a really great food, right? They're a whole food, and they've got a lot of nutritional value, but if you're trying to lose weight, or if you have heart disease, or there's other factors, you need to be aware that these have a lot more calories per pound. In fact, approximately 750 calories per pound, and some people even, you know, put that in a little larger range, but you get the gist. So that's its own category, or it can be, even though it's a whole food. Now, there are other categories of things that I don't have to show you, like breads and bagels and muffins and things of that nature. And I would even put dried fruit in this category. And I do have some behind me here that we're going to be talking about later, dried fruit. But I could show you like these, you know, for example, Turkish apricots I've got, and some jackfruit. These are dried. And so that category, I would say, ranges anywhere from like 920 to say 1,360 calories per pound. So, and then, you know, there's other categories too, like sugars and agaves and things that really don't have much value. If you ask me, corn syrup and just simple sugars, even honey, right? Honey is a natural food, but you know, we're not going to get into that because it's not really a vegan food. But at any rate, it's in this category, and I would say 1,200 to say maybe even up to 1,800 calories per pound. I mean, so you see the trend is going up. And then, of course, behind me here, I've got an array of nuts and seeds. And nuts and seeds, I think, are really great. But, you know, if you can eat them in a small amount, and we can get into that later. But I've got, just to tell you what I have here, this is sunflower seed butter. It's unsalted, creamy, right? I've got tahini. We have raw almonds. I've got pine nuts. I've got pistachios, walnuts, pumpkin seeds back here, and cashews, just to name a few, right? And so nuts and seeds are very high in calories per pound. And Chef AJ has hers at 2,800 calories per pound. And I kind of put it in the 2,400 to 3,200 calorie per pound, depending on which one you're talking about. And like I said earlier, it varies a little bit from here to there. So I just want to stop and take a second to look in the chat. Okay. Oh, hi, Kenneth. He says, watching and listening, welcome. So good to have everybody here. So, that's most everything that I kind of wanted to talk about, except oil. Oil. People ingest oil all the time. They put it on their salads. They dip it, take bread and processed things like that and dip it. They cook with it. You can fry with it. I don't know many people that just, say, I need some oil. I want to take a swig of that because I don't believe that it offers any kind of satiating benefit. But in case you didn't know, 1 pound of oil is 4,000 calories. It's crazy to think. When I learned that, I was like, what in the world? And so anyways, that kind of gives you an idea of what calories are. Oh, and I have quinoa here. I'm going to grab my quinoa. I have some cooked quinoa that I also wanted to put out. It's not necessary, but I did want to have it here. And so I'm just going to put it out on the display because it is a grain and we were talking about grains. And so there you have that as well. I've got the bag of it back here. And so, why does all this matter? Because I personally and most people have tried counting calories. And for me, the days when I would count calories, it didn't work. And so I'm not encouraging you to count calories. I think that a lot of times counting calories has to do with different diet plans that are not sustainable. And so the only reason that I'm bringing up calories is because I want you to have an understanding of how many calories are in these different types of food. Now, if you wanted to count calories, I would just do it as an experiment just to have an understanding of what a certain amount of stuff looks like on a plate. And that's kind of a different topic, but you shouldn't have to count calories to be successful in weight loss or health. And so you might be asking yourself something that my husband asked me the other day when I was telling him that I wanted to do this, and he said, why does it even matter? You're not counting them, and what's the deal? And so I was telling him that if you are losing weight or you're trying to lose weight, it's about understanding what you're eating and how it is going to impact your total calorie intake for the day. So I said earlier that I wanted to talk about 1,500 calories in a day for this particular made-up person that I'm going to be using. And so I want to try to give you an example. I have this empty bowl, and I am going to pretend that this is a stomach, my stomach, the made-up person's stomach. It's the amount of food that I want to fill for the meal, okay? And so in this scenario, we could say we're going to have 3 meals a day, right? And if we're doing 1,500 calories, we could divide it up and say 500 for 3 meals, or you can, just as long as by the end of the day you're at your 1,500, if that is what your amount is that we're going to be using. Okay. And so, so if you're eating the 3 meals a day and you're going to want to put this in the bowl, this is your stomach, right? You're going to want to be aware that you could fill this bowl with all of this. And when we talked about it being 100 or, the range, 10 to 150 calories per pound, that's not very many calories. So if you took all these non-starchy vegetables and filled it up here and ate the whole thing, you would be full, you would be way under your calories for the meal, right, of 500, and you might be satisfied and satiated for a little bit. So I would encourage you to put other things in the bowl as well. So you've got all of these things in here. You might also want to add some kind of potato or beans or starches of some sort, because that is a little bit higher calories per pound, but it's also going to provide you with energy. It's going to provide you with phytonutrients and vitamins and minerals and all these wonderful things, and it's going to make you feel full longer. So you can fill this whole thing, and you can do it with under the 500 calories for the meal, or even if you go over, maybe you wouldn't eat as much at the next meal, as long as by the end of the day you're within your limit. And then you can even put in some fruit, and there you have it. If you can imagine this bowl full to the top with that food, and doing that 3 different times, equaling the 1500, there you go. You now are satisfied, satiated, right? You're full of things that are going to benefit your body. You're going to keep inflammation down. You're going to help with any heart disease, blood pressure, all of those types of things. And you're probably going to lose weight, right? Of course, there's always different factors that your medical provider might know if there's a reason that you're not losing weight. But if you compare that with adding like all the avocados, right? Having a ton of avocados, or having a ton of seeds and nut butters and things like that are higher, even if they're whole food plant-based, it would take an awful lot to fill this. So when you think of it in terms of pounds, nuts, how big of a bowl, right? If you filled this to the top with nuts and seeds and some avocados, yikes, that's a lot to try to ingest, and you are definitely going to go over your caloric intake. And so you won't, chances are that you would gain weight and you might not feel super satisfied. So I want to take a moment and stop for a minute, and I want to see if we have any questions.
So Lori G has a question. Where is tofu on the calorie density chart in your opinion?
Yeah, so that is a great question. And I would say around the 500 calories per pound mark. And so it is closer to this pile here. And that's a great question. Yeah, tofu is a soybean, and so it is a processed soybean, but that's where it comes from. And so beans in general would fit in this category. So hopefully that answers your question, and that's where I would put it. Okay, so let's see what else we have. Anything else? Hi, Jill. Good to see you. And okay, hi Marilyn, Dubin, good to see you. Okay, good. So no questions so far other than that. And if Lori G, if you have any follow-ups to that, please put them in the chat. I would love to expand on that or talk more. If anyone else has any comments about her question, my answer, or anything that we've spoken about so far, please let us know about it. And so let's see. Okay, so the next thing I want to do is talk about how food can change this, right, in the way that we prepare it. So if we are taking the water out of it or cooking it a certain way, it'll change the calorie density, right? And so for example, I'm going to talk about watermelon for a minute, but I want to bring over this guy right here. And so here is a watermelon, right? And this thing weighs over 10 pounds, right? A big, gigantic watermelon that a lot of us are familiar with. you can picture it, I know I don't have it pre-cut, but you can picture cutting this in half, right? Taking out the outside rind, and that would certainly fill this. And it's in the fruit category, so it's going to be around the 300 mark, give or take. And so that is going to be very filling, right? But if you dehydrate it, like this package here, and you take out the water, because dehydration takes out the water, you are going to change the calorie density from, what did we say, this was about 300, and this, based on the serving size of 1 ounce, and it's saying calories per serving is 90. So if you did a pound of this, I think it's like 1,600, is it 1,400 calories per pound? 1,400? So you're almost at your daily intake. And I'm going to go ahead and open this. And it's not that this isn't a good thing, right? It's a 1 ingredient, it's watermelon, it was dehydrated, great for traveling with. It's just for the point of showing about calorie density and why it matters and how it can benefit us in our choices. So I'm just going to open this up because I want you to see. Wow, look at this. Okay, this is packed and repacked. Well, here it is. I mean, it's just got some layers. I'm going to keep opening it in case you haven't seen this before. And it smells good. Let me just take a minute to open this. Has anyone ever tried dehydrated watermelon before? I enjoy it on occasion when I am flying or something like that. But, you know, look at, they have it nicely separated. Oh my goodness. It's a little bit sticky, but well, we're going to show it anyways. So if I peel this paper off, and you can kind of see that it kind of reminds me of like a fruit roll-up, but it's very, very thin and flattened, and there is no water left in this, right? So if you picture, and it's sticking so bad, let's just try to pull some off just so you get an idea. It's sticking. And this, I mean, this is going to take so much to fill this bowl, right? So even if you filled it with the whole package, it's not going to be satiating. It's not going to fill it, and it's going to be all of those calories. So if you have a choice and you're looking at weight loss or maintenance, you might want to, you know, go for the whole thing. It's got water, it's got fiber, and it's going to be filling, and it's going to fill this up, and you're still going to be way under even your 500 calories. And so I just wanted to talk about that. Let me just check the chat here. Hi, Tammy. Oh, good. I'm glad. She says, hi, Jennifer. Love the bowl demo. Very effective. Good. Thank you so much. And you know, I would love to know if this is confusing you, if you've heard of calorie density before, if this makes sense, if it's more clear. I would love any kind of feedback from anyone. But so that's one example, right? And I have some others here, like good old raisins. Who doesn't love some raisins, right? Some raisins, I'm not going to get into this, but some raisins, you know, they do have, they are coated in oil. So hopefully if you're using raisins, you make sure that the company that you're buying them from, I should say, doesn't coat them in oil. But regardless, these are like dehydrated, right? They're raisins. And the difference between raisins and grapes is that they're missing the water. They're missing the fiber. They're missing part of what keeps us satisfied. The sugar content also, I believe, will go up as well because it's not intact. So here you go. You can have this entire bowl, right? Pour it in here like your stomach. Oh my goodness. And it's heavy. And I'm just saying, I'm not suggesting you fill it with one thing, but just to show in this instance that this is almost full to the top, right? So there's plenty of room for even some more of something else. But if you compare that, let me put these back in here because we want to show in our stomach, to this 16 ounces of golden raisins, which I'm going to open and pour in there just to show you. Look at this. You can see that, and I didn't weigh these, but just to show you the difference. It would be better if we weighed them and had equal pounds for pounds. But, dehydrated, it really shrinks it down. And so your stomach is still looking for something. That's why, in my experience, if I've ever had, one of those bars or those shakes or counting points at any of these, Jenny Craig Weight Watchers. I'm not trying to, badger anyone, but that's my experience, right? You eat it and then you're still looking for something. Or maybe you ate foods that aren't whole foods and your body's still wanting something. It's because it's not getting what it needs. And so you go looking to satiate, and it's just not happening. So hopefully that makes sense. And the last, well, no, it's not the last one. I got a couple more. I just want to show, even figs, right? We can get dried figs here. I don't have a lot of these figs, but fresh figs, they're very different in terms of calorie density. And I am just going to go ahead and move the raisins out of the way. Are there any questions while I just take a second here and move this out of the way?
So John Jew has a question.
Okay.
His question is there such a thing as nutrient density? As he's slicing up his watermelon right now and listening, he's watching this wonderful show, and it's very informative.
Yeah, nutrient density. So could you elaborate more on what exactly the question is? Because I'm not really sure, but I would, yes?
So I looked it up.
Oh, you did?
I did.
Oh, okay. Way to go, Todd.
Thank you. So to answer John's question, nutrient density refers to the amount of vitamins, minerals, and proteins in a food, not specifically just calories like calorie density does.
Okay, which makes perfect sense, right? Because when he did say nutrients, that made me think of that. But is that what you were asking about? And let us know if there is something else that we could talk about. But yeah, cutting up a watermelon, there is going to be more nutrients in it with everything intact. But I do agree that it's probably a little bit different than calorie density. Would you agree, Todd?
I would agree.
Yeah.
I think nutrient density talks about more than just calories, whereas calorie density is very specific to calories alone.
Yes. And Carlene is saying Dr. Furman uses nutrient density. And yes, and he does. And that's a different animal, I think. But it's a good point. And if anybody would like it, that has more information about that wants to chime in, please do. We would love to talk more about that. And so the other thing that I was just going to show is, so I started to, are these dried Turkish figs and regular figs. And of course, with anything that is in its whole form, it's going to have all of everything intact, and it's going to be filling. And so the last one of those that I wanted to show, let me put my stomach down here for a minute, is strawberries. The reason that I wanted to show these strawberries is, here's a pound of strawberries, right? So, is this a pound? Yeah, 16 ounces. Okay, so so probably 2 pounds to fill this, so 600 calories, or there's about 300 calories here. Versus, this is not dehydrated, and this is only 1.2 ounces, and these are freeze-dried strawberries, and these calories are also about 1,400 calories for this little bag. Isn't that right, Todd? No, not for this little bag. If a pound of these would equal 1,400 calories per pound. Oh my gosh, so crazy. So I see John Jew thanking you. Nice work, Todd. Yes, I agree. He is such a great help. And it's really fun for us to learn together too. So I want to open these and show you these. And then I just want to, see if there's anything else that we could discuss. Any questions? And also, I would like to know, is this a new topic for you if you're listening? Or is this a topic that you have great experience with? Or is this a topic that you've heard about, but you haven't had clarity? I'd love to just kind of see where everyone is. Check this out. Right? Not full at all. So I'm going to be hungry. And that's why I think there's a time and a place for these kinds of dried or dehydrated foods, but ongoing for ultimate weight loss and health promotion, I think that there are so many other better choices that are found in whole foods, and you can hopefully take that and incorporate it or apply it or have it be a refresher to you. Now, earlier on, I did say one other thing. I said that I think calorie density could actually help people gain weight. And I want to clarify that. Now, why would I say that? Well, because I think that there are some people that need to gain weight, whether it's from an illness, chemo treatments, cancers, or they just have a quick metabolism. Some people need more calories in their day. And so adding things to a smoothie or a salad or something, adding some of these concentrated foods like the seed butters, like the nut butters, like tahini, or even more nuts and seeds, I think can be very beneficial for some people. And Todd is one of those people. Now, thank goodness he's not ill or anything, but he has a quick metabolism. And so he can lose weight. Don't hate him, guys. I don't either. He can lose weight so easy. Like if he eats exactly how I do, he can drop weight. And then if I start to eat some of the higher caloric dense foods that he eats, well, there you go. I've already, put a couple of pounds on and I have to bring it back. So we're all different and we're all in different places in our journey. But I really just wanted to just talk about this because I think it's a very complex conversation and it's got a lot of pieces to it. Are there any other things that you see in the chat or that you personally, Todd, would want me to bring up regarding this?
No, there's a new chat from John. Let's just see what that looks like. Excellent topic.
I actually see Jill.
Yep.
Jill put something on here. Let's read hers first. Below it. Yep. Oh, I see. Okay, go ahead. Go ahead, Todd. Wherever.
So John's comment was excellent topic. Heard of it. Not for me to count, but very helpful to know the nuances and for others. Gaining weight. Wow, great info.
Right? I mean, but don't you think it's true?
Well, I think it's true. I think everyone's in a different place and has different goals. And I think understanding the calorie component of the foods that you're ingesting will help you through and to whatever your goals may be.
Right. And so, yeah, I agree, totally. I'm going kind of backwards. Jill says, I have heard of calorie density, but your visual really helped. Okay, I'm so glad because it can be confusing and there's a lot of info that I wanted to share. And then going back up, John Jew also said, Oh, I don't know. I never heard of it before. I wonder if they measure different foods. Sounds like they do. I'm not sure what that was about. Did you
So
see?
Donna's got a question.
Oh, okay.
Do you have favorite foods that are lower in caloric density?
Do I have favorite foods that are lower in caloric density?
I'm guessing she's asking you, not me.
Salad. I mean, I just love the variety that salad offers. And it's a general word, right? But we can put anything in it. So I've got romaine lettuce here, and I've got some collard greens, but I love to mix up all different kinds of greens and make it super, super colorful. And then I like to add a little bit of, potato or quinoa or something, because eating just salad is not going to do it for me. And I also really enjoy lemon on my salad. It helps to allow the absorption of iron. But I also like to do berries in my salad, or oranges, citrus, apples, fruit in my salad. And I just love having a gigantic salad with the grain either in it or on the side. And I just like to combine all the different things if I can, including a small, very small, little amount of seeds, nuts or seeds. So that's a thing about nuts or seeds. And I know when I was at True North water fasting, they were saying, Dr. Alan Goldhammer, and you may have heard him say this before, that 1 ounce is the max that a person should eat for health benefits without getting too many calories, if you can. Like some people, they can't. And so, that's fine. You just get to know yourself. But so I try to use the higher dense, higher caloric things as more of a condiment, right? So an avocado too. But going back to your question, I would say salads, because there's so much variation that you can do with salads. And so let's see. But yes, if you use if you can, and you have to know yourself, but if you can use some of the higher fats or higher calorically dense foods as condiments, then you probably are in a good place if you don't have weight to lose. If you have weight to lose, of course, you want to ask your doctor or your healthcare professional. But what I have heard is that you might want to just hold off on those until the weight loss is over and you're in your maintenance, and then you can see what works for you. Now, I know that, going raw, that's a whole different ball game, right? Because that's very low on the calorie density scale. And so you have to eat a lot more to get this bowl full for your stomach, right? And even like Tammy Kramer on Nutmeg Notebook, if you're familiar with her, she does a lot of these beautiful salads, chopped salads. Well, you can have a big, beautiful bowl of salad, which I think I have like a half one here I'm going to show you. Because I already ate half of it. But you can have a beautiful salad, right? And it can fill the bowl. But if you chop it, chop, with, what is that, a mandolin, or I forget what it's called, the chopper in the wooden bowl that we have, the Holland bowls. Anyways, if you chop it up, however you're going to chop it up, it brings it way down, so you can then add more. And when you're eating raw, for example, you want to really eat a lot more, and that's kind of going off topic, but I wanted to share that. Let's see what else we have here. Oh, my salad sounds amazing, Donna said. More like a meal than an appetizer, and lots of variety. Yes, it is a meal. And for me, I want to have a salad, a gigantic salad meal at least once a day. And then sometimes I do smoothies that are getting more greens in, and then I'll do more salads. And if I'm hungry, then I'll add potato, or I'll add some beans, or even the tofu, like it was brought up before, or tempeh. I've got buckwheat here. I mean, there's so much variety, but just understanding the difference in how the foods can benefit you health-wise, and you're not hungry, is what's so important, right? So even cooking potatoes let's talk about that for a minute. Even cooking potatoes, the way that you cook a potato can affect how many calories are in it, right? So if I take this potato or a bunch of, this is a sweet potato, and this is, I think this is like a mini russet kind of thing, but whatever kind of potato you take, if you cook it in an Instant Pot with water, it's going to be less calorically dense than if you slice it up and put it on a tray and bake it and make it into like chips, right? So you're taking out the water. Or even if you cook this and you cook it at a high temperature, when I say cook it, bake it in the oven at a high temperature versus a longer amount of time in a lower temperature, you will extract more of the natural liquid in it. And that will change the caloric density. Why is that? Well, because if this was just baked or put in the Instant Pot and it's heavy, or even mashed potatoes, right? But you're not gonna add that other stuff in it that so many of us grew up on. But just put in some garlic powder. Seasonings and herbs are amazing to change things up too. But if you have this and it's mashed up or it's made with water, you will get fuller faster. If you chop this up and make it into air-fried French fries without the oil, hopefully, or sliced into like a potato chip, or even dehydrate it, it's gonna take a lot more to fill our bowl, which has these, I gotta move these over so I can show you. Let's just do this for now. It's gonna take a lot more to fill this than it would be if it was in its natural form, right? So maybe you can eat 1 or 2 pounds of potatoes and 1 or 2 pounds of broccoli or some other cauliflower or something like that, and have a side bowl of salad, or make that, incorporate it in your salad, or zucchini or whatever. You're gonna have that stomach full, and you might not even be able to finish it all, right? But if you take all the water out, it's gonna shrink it down, and the stomach is not gonna be full. The stomach doesn't care about calories. It doesn't. It cares about fullness. We wanna be aware of the calories to have ourselves be successful in whatever direction we're going. Health, weight loss, and like I mentioned, I believe even weight gain can help us. And so as long as you're let's see, what was the example we talked about? We were talking about an Impossible Burger having was it a 16th?
We were talking about just a general cheeseburger, the number of calories in a cheeseburger. You'd have to eat 1/6 of that burger.
Oh, that's what it was.
To equal a similar 500 calorie salad.
Well,
so
I don't.
The issue was,
I think it was beans.
Or the beans, or whatever it was we were talking about. But the point was that you're not going to get full on 1/6 of a burger. So
right.
You're going to continue to eat, and then you're going to overeat and over-consume calories.
Right. And hi, Jim. I see Jim Dixon is here. So welcome. Hi, Natalie Dixon. Welcome, you guys. We're just talking so much about calorie density. But anyhow, yeah. So if you have something that's a higher caloric intake density, right? Like what you were saying, a burger or any of those, and you measure it with potatoes, or I want to say beans, because I feel like that's a more a better comparison than a salad.
Well, if you want to say beans, then go ahead and say beans.
In terms of calorie density, thank you, honey. I appreciate it. But yeah, you'll be able to eat a lot bigger portion and have less calories. And so anyhow, I don't know. Did I confuse anyone? Anybody have any questions? Let me take a peek in the chat here. Nan says the most nutrient-dense foods are to the left of the red line, while calorically dense foods are to the right. And that she's talking about Chef AJ, which I just got stuff all over it. Let me wipe this off. She's talking about Chef AJ's calorie density chart. Yes, so Chef AJ, and you're not going to be able to see it that well, and I apologize for the lighting, has this red line, and she's talking eat left of the red line. And these are the things that we have here, right? The non-starchy vegetables, the fruit, and the unrefined complete carbohydrates, potatoes, beans, legumes. Now, but if you're not trying to lose weight, it's just a good idea to have an understanding of what is past the red line, right? So that you know what you're having. Maybe you're going to a restaurant. Maybe you're traveling. Maybe you're whatever. You know, if they give you a half an avocado, based on what you're trying on your salad, based on what you're trying to do, you can decide, kind of having an idea. Okay, that is going to be 750 calories per pound, right? And so maybe if I can either skip it and have a gigantic bowl of grapes or something, right? Or maybe I want it. I want the fat, or I want whatever. Can you just have a fifth or a small portion? That's the key. And then there's a whole other component of some people, you know, they can't. They just, there's the avocado, whatever the trigger food is, and so they know themselves, and they know, you know what? I'm going to eat this whole bowl of avocado. I'm going to make guacamole. I'm going to do whatever. This is my thing. Or same with nuts. So you got to kind of know yourself and know your know what your goals are, and go from there. And so yeah, let's see. Hi Patsy. Good to have you here. Thank you for tuning in. And so, yeah, so unless anyone has any questions, we do have a little bit more time left, but hopefully this was helpful information for you, that it gave you clarity, because it is such a complex thing, right? And just to do a quick review, it's not about what food you're eating. It's about where it fits on the scale, whatever scale you use, whether it's Chef AJ's, whether it's Jeff Novick's, Forks Over Knives has one, Dr. McDougall, and there are just so many all over the internet that you can check out and see whatever resonates with you. And so hopefully that gives you clarification. I know for me, gosh, I just couldn't get it. I did not get it. I was just kept thinking that it was about a food, and it's not about the food. So anyways, let me see. Oh, I see we skipped something. Tammy Wheeler says the Andy score is commonly used for evaluating nutrient density. Oh, okay, so when we were talking a little about earlier about the question about nutrient density, she's saying that Andy's score is used to help with that. So thank you, Tammy. I'm sorry we skipped that. I'll have to talk to my guy back there.
Technically, I already responded in the chat.
Oh, okay. Okay, and John Riley says, I'm working my calories off by moving around, packing boxes and washing dishes and going for walks today, and that's amazing. Exercise is a huge component in wellness, and of course if you are one that's trying to do weight loss, and so adding exercise in is fantastic. I'm super proud of you, and yes, it's wonderful that you're doing all those things. I'm brushing this off because I have these strawberries that got all over the place, but that's okay. And so let's see, are there any other questions? I don't think there are any other questions. So I don't know, do you have anything else you'd want to add to this conversation, Todd?
No, I mean, I think you covered it all. I think we talked a little bit about what is it, why does it matter, and how does it change as you cook or prepare foods.
Right. And that's another thing. Oh yeah, go ahead.
I do think that the key to this is the bowl analogy or metaphor, where that represents the stomach, and the key is really to, fill your stomach so that you're satiated.
Right.
And if you fill it with low-calorie dense foods, then you're doing yourself a favor in not overeating.
Right. And you know what else? You don't need to count calories. It's just that simple. And you don't need to worry about it, you know. Once you have an idea of what your goals are and kind of an idea of how this works in terms of calories, then, I mean, I don't count calories. I just know I'd like to, you know, if I do eat a little bit more than an ounce of nuts a day, well, maybe the next day I'll skip it altogether, but I can kind of play around with things. And I know that if I get in all my salads and my veggies and all of that even first, and that's another topic, is sequencing. We didn't even get into that because that's not the topic, but sequencing is another thing you could do for losing weight. If that's your goal, right? We talked about it not just being losing weight, but it could be maintaining, and I even said that it could be gaining, for those of you that came a little bit later. But sequencing, just real quick since I brought it up, I'll just say is getting in the non-starchy vegetables first in your meal, because it's not going to satiate you. Even if it fills the bowl, it breaks down, right? And then going for your other things like your potatoes, beans, legumes, lentils, quinoa, whatever, right? And then if you still want it, you can add your fruit. Now, why would you do that? Or in the morning, right? Vegetables for breakfast is what Chef AJ sometimes talk about. And there was quite a long time when I was doing a pound of steamed vegetables every morning. And sometimes I would just throw them on top of a smaller salad, not one quite this large, but it had more things. And this is a base salad. This is just minimal things. And then I would add to it. But the reason why is because it's not going to sustain you for a long period of time. But if you were to be wanting to lose weight and you're eating the potatoes and the carbohydrates that are good and healthy, you might get full. And then you don't have room for the greens. Or if you were having oatmeal, so a lot of people like to have oatmeal or steel cut oats or whatever in the morning. If you want to have your greens first and then have that, then you'll get it all in and you won't be too full and miss out. So that's kind of what that's about. A little off topic, but let me just say, Donna says, so appreciate the visuals with the calorie density. Oh, you love the bowls. Thank you so much. I appreciate that very much. I really personally love visuals, so I like to be able to share it. And I hope that this all made sense to everyone here. And yeah, I think that's it. So, we do have a little bit of time left, or we can sign off early. We've got about 9 minutes. So let me know in the chat if you have any other questions, if you want me to go over anything, if you need a recap of anything, just a comment. And I know some of you came on late. If you have anything that you want to discuss, feel free. Otherwise, we can just, I can feel confident that you guys are ready to take on your next meal, knowing and understanding what calorie density is all about. Yeah? Okay. I thought he was asking me a question, but he's not. Double thumbs up. I appreciate it. And you know what, you guys, if you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, and then you'll be notified when I go live or post new videos. And give this a thumbs up if it's of interest to you, if you enjoyed it, if you learned something. If you're already a subscriber, I want to thank you. Thank you very much for helping to support me and my channel and spread the word. I truly, truly want to help others learn about what I've learned and know that they're not alone. So I appreciate it. And Carlene says, great presentation. Love your enthusiasm, says Tammy, and passion. Thank you so much. We're all in this together, right? I'm sending a big hug, big love to everyone. And please feel free, even after this is over, if you want to go back and leave a comment about other topics you'd like me to talk about, I would love the feedback. And I'm going to be, continuing to try to do every Tuesday at 2 Pacific Standard Time. Although Arizona doesn't change their times. And so when the time changes, I think we're going to keep doing it at 2 o'clock, but then it'll be mountain. Anyways, we could talk about that later. So I guess we will be, oh, there's something else?
Just one additional thought. I know some have been having some challenges with the video quality throughout this. We will be posting a clean version on the YouTube channel as well, in case you want to go back. If you didn't clearly see some of the foods
really?
that Jennifer was sharing, we will post a higher resolution version so that you can see those then.
Okay, thank you. I'm sorry if you were having trouble, but it's good to know that as the replay comes up, you will be good to go. And so Marilyn says, thank you so much. John Jew, thanks Jennifer, you and Todd. Way interesting and informative. And John Riley says, now Chef AJ can retire. Whoa, what a compliment. She is pretty incredible, and I do appreciate learning from her, and I appreciate you guys and your support, and I learned from you guys. And so I guess we'll be signing off a few minutes early. Thank you so much, everyone. Don't forget to eat your greens and give plants a chance. I'm sending out love to you. Take care, everyone. Until next time. Bye-bye.